The Galactic History Symposium had seemed like a perfect opportunity to showcase the peaceful nature of the Coalition's member species. 200 students from 40 different worlds, all gathered to share their cultural heritage and learn about conflict resolution through historical context. Each species would present their most significant war, analyze it, and discuss how they'd evolved beyond such barbarism. The Velnari had discussed the three-day dispute, a territorial disagreement resolved through carefully choreographed threat displays. The Korthan representative had presented the Grain Rebellion, where farmers had withheld crops for nearly a week before negotiation succeeded. Even the notoriously aggressive KRYLL had shared their 100-year competition, which involved exactly 3 casualties across a century of ritualized combat. Then came Earth's turn. Lieutenant Sarah Okafor stood at the podium, her dark skin gleaming under the auditorium lights. She'd been chosen specifically because of her calm demeanor and diplomatic experience. Kixtala had reviewed her presentation personally. It was titled The Second World War, A Study in Global Conflict. What Kixtala hadn't realized was that humans had very different definitions of certain words. Our presentation covers a 6-year period, Sarah began, and Kixtala's 3 hearts sank immediately. 6 years was longer than most species' entire military histories. The conflict involved roughly 70 nations and resulted in an estimated 70 to 85 million casualties. The auditorium went silent. Someone's translator must have malfunctioned, Kixtala thought desperately. A Velnari student raised a crystalline appendage. "Excuse me, Lieutenant. Did you say million? Perhaps you meant to say 1,000? "Million," Sarah confirmed. She pulled up a holographic map. The war was fought across 6 continents and 4 oceans. We had aerial bombardment, naval warfare, ground combat, and partisan resistance movements. Chemical weapons, though banned, were manufactured. And toward the end, she paused, and Kixtala noticed something that terrified him more than anything else. The human looked sad. "We developed and deployed nuclear weapons." A Korthan fainted. Medical staff rushed to assist. "I apologize," a KRYLL warrior scholar said, his bone plates rattling with agitation. "But nuclear weapons? As in, weaponized atomic fission? That's a theoretical doomsday scenario we use to teach ethics to children." "You actually built them?" "2 different designs," Sarah said. "We dropped them on 2 cities. The immediate deaths numbered over 200,000. We did this to end the war, which we calculated would have cost even more lives had it continued." Kixtala watched as his carefully planned symposium collapsed into chaos. Students were hyperventilating. 3 more had fainted. A Yulani had shifted into a defensive probability state and couldn't reconsolidate. "Lieutenant Okafor," Kixtala interrupted, his voice pleading. "Perhaps we should discuss how humanity has evolved past such violence?" "Oh, absolutely," Sarah agreed. "That was 80 years ago. We learned a lot from World War II." Relief flooded through Kixtala. Finally, the redemption arc. "We developed precision-guided munitions, improved our logistics networks, and created international frameworks to prevent another global conflict. We haven't had a world war since then. You see?" Kixtala addressed his traumatized students. "Humanity has found peace." "Well," Sarah corrected gently, "we haven't had a world war. We've had the Korean War, Vietnam, the Gulf Wars, Afghanistan, Syria, Yemen, and about 150 other armed conflicts. But none of those went fully global, so we consider that progress." A Velnari student began weeping crystalline tears. "Your species has been in continuous warfare for 80 years? "Oh no," Sarah said, apparently trying to be reassuring. "Way longer than that. Humans have been fighting wars for at least 5,000 recorded years. Probably longer. World War II is just notable because it was the biggest one. So far." That "so far" hung in the air like a gravitational anomaly. A brave KRYLL student, his bone plates pale with shock, asked the question everyone was thinking. How? How does a species survive being that violent toward itself? Sarah considered this. Honestly? We're really good at healing, too. For every weapon we've invented, we've developed corresponding medical advances. We got quite efficient at trauma surgery during the World Wars. Antibiotics, blood transfusions, psychological counseling, war pushed us to get better at saving lives. You learned medicine from killing each other? Kikstala's voice was barely a whisper. We learned everything from each other, Sarah replied. Competition drove innovation. Conflict revealed weakness. Survival demanded adaptation. It's not pretty, Professor, but it made us what we are today. She pulled up a final image, Earth from space, blue and green and beautiful. We're the species that split the atom and immediately thought to weaponize it. But we're also the species that looked at that same power and built reactors to light our cities. We're violent, yes. But we're also the species that keeps choosing not to be. Every single day. Kikstala updated his course materials that evening. Next to Human Military History, he added a note in bold, warning, Deathworld species. Standard conflict metrics do not apply. Psychological support recommended for all attendees. And then, because he was a thorough educator, he added one more line, advanced seminar available, Human Peace Treaties and Why They Keep Trying.